Okay, everybody, I am super excited about this to bring on special guest Curt Maly. I've known Curt for Curt, probably 9 or 10 years now.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Not only a good friend, but also my ad coach. And so Curt is my personal ad coach. Every week we get on a call and he helps me with my ad strategy and ideas and all kinds of stuff. He's the creator of the BELT method, which I think is the best method for advertising on the internet, because it doesn't just put a bunch of sales in front of people and say, buy, which is what so many people do. He's got a great method for really nurturing people into buying, creating relationships with people. As you know, we're all about relationships, not transactions. The transactions come naturally when you have relationships. He's also got a program called the Genius Society, which I'm also a part of, which is an amazing program. And his website is youradcoach.com. So Curt, I am really excited to have you on this. I've been wanting to do something with you for a long time and have you share your genius with everyone in the Ethical Marketing Academy audience. So welcome.
I'd love to. Thank you very much. One quick small point, yourad.coach. It was easier to get than youradcoach.com, which is totally fine. But yourad.coach. So yeah, I'd love to jump right on into it. Where would you like to start?
Well, I know that you're, you do a lot of traditional marketing, right? Paid marketing. You also do a lot of organic stuff, which is something that I find a lot of ad coaches don't get into. But I think the two, blend together really well. And then also you're, really on the cutting edge of all the AI stuff, which, as you know, I'm really into as well. So
yeah, let's talk about all that stuff.
Talk about how those three things kind of blend together.
It's interesting. What I tell people all the time is, at the end of the day, it all comes down to consistency, right? I mean, that's what really networking really is. Business branding really comes down to. And essentially is, for the last 19 years, I've owned an advertising agency, and I own it with my brother, and we specialize a lot of it in traditional marketing, meaning radio, TV, billboards. So it's a marketing methodology that can be applied to really any kind of sales channel. Well, as the interwebs really started to grow and we started to advertise on Facebook and Google, we really found that if the clients that we worked with best, if clients were posting content on a regular basis, oh my goodness, we can take that content, we can amplify it a little bit, build that branding, build that kind of persona, and then we could offer lots of different things. Well, meanwhile, I saw a lot of my colleagues, as the interwebs was growing up, just really focusing on, let me get as many sales as I possibly can, because if I run this ad, I'm going to get a whole bunch of clicks and I get a whole bunch of buyers. The problem is, if their ad account would get shut down, if the economy would change, if the numbers at scale would change, all of a sudden, they're literally making a bunch of money, getting a bunch of leads, and it's gone. Right. The reason is because they didn't build a relationship. They didn't build that brand. So what I love to do is, if we can teach organic principles, if people do that on a consistent basis, oh my goodness, turning those into ads and scaling those ads is just one of the smartest things you can do. We've won a lot of awards for it, and I love to talk about this stuff. So Michael, we can talk about AI tools. There's lots of stuff we could talk about, because there's so many different things out there right now I'm excited about that help people create content literally in just a couple of minutes that they can just post on a consistent basis and see some great results.
Yeah, I love it. That consistency is key. There were a lot of people I know who struggled during COVID, 2020, when COVID hit. And I think part of the reason for that is they're always out just looking for new business. Right. Yeah. Whereas, we build relationships. We've got somebody, for example, Dr. Cesar Vargas has been a customer of ours since 2008. And, there was a point where it was like, okay, Cesar's bought everything that we have. In 2009, probably it was. But, he just this last year bought 2 or 3 new programs from us, so we're talking 15 years later. And, so often you and I know some people we've talked about privately who, their whole MO is, let's build a list up and burn it to the ground as fast as we can. And then we got to go find another list. Yeah. And boy, that style of business just must be so tiring. I can't imagine. Anytime I hear somebody say, I'm a serial entrepreneur, that's exactly what I think of, right? Well, why are you a serial? Why don't you just have one business that's worked for 22 years like I have, or 19 years like you have? I find people are very proud of that term, serial entrepreneur, but usually what I find is that's the kind of person that is, just burning through an opportunity, then they have to go find another opportunity. So consistency is absolutely key.
I mean, it's interesting when you say this, and we're going to kind of talk about the dark side for just a minute. And I know that of people like this. I'm not really going to call them friends, but colleagues, where they're like, yeah, I don't really want to put my face on camera, which is totally cool. There's lots of AI tools that you can do that. But they're like, I don't even know if I want to put my name on this. I just want to run and gun it, make as much money as I can. And if it burns to the ground, it burns to the ground. I'll go just start something new.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that doesn't really sound ethical or fun to me. I know other people like to do that, but I terrorists burn down stuff. I just want to have a
Exactly.
profitable business and help people out more than anything else. So.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's why, at Ethical Marketing Academy, we teach a lot about avatars. And, your avatar's not just, to me, it's not just about identifying who your ideal customer is, or it's not just about the marketing, because that's what most people think an avatar is, oh, let's identify the psychographics and the demographics so that we can communicate to them. But the other part of an avatar, as far as I'm concerned, is making sure that you're selecting the right people that you want to work with. And when we started Ethical Marketing Academy, initially, our avatar was just a marketer, maybe even an internet marketer. And very quickly, we found out that there were too many of those kind of people, the kind of people that were like, hey, bro, how can I make 10K this weekend? Like that's all they care about is the money. They don't care about people. They don't care about any kind of a product or anything like that. So we shifted our avatar very quickly to the point where we kind of repel those people now. I think really good marketing repels people, the wrong people, and attracts the right people. So, and I love that you operate in that way. You and Nick both, have that same sentiment of building relationships. And then, sometimes it's not very profitable to build relationships. And I'm sure this is something that you can address. But the relationship becomes profitable, and this is a lot of times I see people, they're like, oh, I spent $1.10 on that ad and I only made $1 back. I got to kill that ad. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. That's where the relationship comes from. You lost 10 cents, but what are you going to make in the long run if you stick with it? And you and I have had this talk that, I had some ad campaigns that seemingly were losing money because I was looking at a short window of return. Then when it came back 6 months later and I looked at all those people that bought from that ad in the first place, it's like, holy crap, we made, 10x what we invested on that ad. I just needed to wait 6 months to see it. So,
well, a lot of people just focused on the acquisition, which is like, how many sales and leads can I get? But what they're really saying is, how many new introductions can I get brought into?
Yeah.
That sometimes those transactions or those introductions can be profitable. They can become a lead, which is really great. But what I see so many people do is I like to equate this of like going to a networking meeting, to where like, if you go to a networking meeting, if you've ever been to any of those, I'm sure most of the people watching typically have, there's that guy or girl that walks into the room and they're like, hi, I'm in insurance. Would you like to have any insurance? They hand you your card. Hi, I'm in insurance. You want to schedule a call tomorrow? Hi, I'm in insurance. Do you have any life insurance? And that's all they say. There's no, hi, how are you? Oh, Michael, tell me, what do you do while you're living? Not necessarily what you do for your work, but what do you do for your family? What do you like to do for fun? Oh, what do you like to do for business? We're building a relationship overall. And so many times, like what you had said is, we may get some leads on the front side of it and we look at it and we're like, it's not necessarily profitable, but like, you're really great at following up with people, telling stories, giving content, giving examples. Now you're building the relationship overall. That's why you've been in business for 20 years and you just don't go out of business the next day when things don't work. So I'm excited for, number one, AI tools I think can help people produce a lot more content in a shorter amount of time. And by being able to do that, that means you're going to be able to place more content online. They say content is king, but it's really going to come down to quality. These tools, I believe, or a lot of AI tools, can help improve that quality. But I think the biggest thing is, and Michael, I'm excited to talk about this here in just a little bit. There's a huge transition where 10 years ago, if you remember, you would start a Facebook page and you would start posting, and all of a sudden, all these people would start to see it, whether that was your personal page or your business page. And then about 7 years ago, Facebook's like, well, we sell ads. Why would we want a bunch of organic posting to go on page? And then ads really took off, and organic just didn't really work as well as much anymore. You had to put a lot of effort behind the organic. Fast forward to today, something called TikTok comes out. Yeah. TikTok is really organic. And all of a sudden, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram is looking at all that original creator content. And I can't wait to get into this later. Original creator content that organically just really takes off. Now, all of the platforms all together, we are seeing a resurgence with organic traffic. So if you're posting one video a month, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
If you're posting 2 or 3 times a week or even once a day on these 4 different platforms or even one platform, right now is a perfect time just to have your content be seen by people who didn't even know that they were interested in your stuff until they start seeing your content. It's a really remarkable place in time right now.
Yeah, I hate to say it, I've been teaching marketing for 15 years, and I've been a marketing consultant for 25 years now. And I got to say, like, there was a time where, when I would hear somebody harp on organic, I don't do any paid ads, I only do organic. My first thought was they're broke, because
absolutely
only broke people weren't willing to spend money on ads, because organic was like, it took so long for it to take effect. And if it did take effect, was still luck, right? Because you could post posts and nobody would ever see them. And
Absolutely.
that's beginning to change. I'm having to shift my judgments now because, and that's not to say I don't think anybody should go all organic. The people who still brag that, oh, I don't do any advertising, I only do organic, I still think probably struggle a lot, but a lot less than they were 5 years ago, where probably they weren't getting a lot of success from that organic. But now I think the big thing is something you talk about, which is combining the organic and the paid.
I see a lot of organic people who are, TikTok's great for this.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of organic people, they're doing some original content. It's really funny. They get lots of views. And we're like, how many leads did you get? We don't even leads. Why would you get leads? Well, having 10 million views and having 1 million followers, but you don't know how to run a single opt-in or how to follow up with those people besides, kind of pun intended, dancing on camera all over again. What about when you want to add some value and some additional content? So I think a lot of people sometimes, or I think this is changing a lot, but a lot of people used to be like, hey, I got to go viral because that's going to make us money. Not really, because now you have a bunch of unqualified people watching your stuff. So what I'm going to talk about in my presentation coming up, like on the organic side, if we're posting on a regular basis, right now, all 4 platforms are looking for micro communities with micro influencers where there's a high level of engagement inside of that community. And I think that's a huge opportunity right now.
When I'm coaching, our clients, one of the things I'm always warning them about is to be careful, be aware, be scared of, not scared of, but be wary of vanity metrics, right? And that's,
absolutely,
because the vanity metrics make you feel good. They get the little dopamine boost going and everything, but what does it really mean for your business? It's got to be something that moves the needle for the business, not just makes you feel good. So I'm sure that's something you'll address as well. So
yeah, perfect. I'll give you a real quick, perfect example. So I meet this guy, one of these like $25,000 masterminds, all right? And we're on top of this mountain and we're standing there talking to each other. And this guy's like a world-renowned sleep expert. Like he works with some huge celebrities. He's been on Oprah. He's been on the doctor shows. He's been on lots of other medical shows. And I just think, like, I'm sitting there standing next to him next to this fire, and I'm sitting there thinking, man, this guy has so much exposure. This is what a lot of my clients want. Like that I would love, like, oh my goodness, there's so much exposure. And he looks at me and it's almost like he's going to tell a bad joke, right? He's looking over his left and right shoulder to make sure no one's listening. And he's like, hey, Curt, how do you guys monetize this stuff? Like I'm invited to all these shows, but like, how do you monetize? Like you have courses, you collect emails, you follow up with people. And I was blown away just because if you have such a large platform and you're getting a lot of engagement, but you haven't put any of these foundation things in place, like how do you build a brand? When people come to your website, how do you collect leads? How do you sell appropriate products? Yeah. The exposure doesn't really mean anything. So dancing on video and getting 10 million views isn't exciting to me at all. Producing some really good content like what we're going to be talking about here and what we have been talking about here and getting it to a small group of people that's a micro community that we're all engaged and want the same thing. That's the kind of content that I'm looking to produce, that I want to show other people how to produce, because that's how you can ethically monetize it in a great way because you're helping people first.
I love it. Awesome.
By the way, you've been marketing for 20 years. How many of these opportunities were you awed by where you didn't realize that there was an opportunity like this today?
No, it's huge. This has got me pumped up, even though we're already, moving in this direction and have a big initiative toward doing this. It's really just kind of, reaffirmed to me that we're making the right choice. I have spent all my focus on paid ads since 2002. Just realizing that I'm missing the boat, there's, especially on YouTube, I look at some of these people who've been NLP trainers, for example, far shorter than I have. And then you go look at their channel, they got 250,000 subscribers on their YouTube. And every time they go live, they're getting, 1,200 people on their lives. And it's like, okay, I have 1,300 subscribers on my YouTube that's been around since 2007 or something like that.
So I know that you've done this in the past as well, too. Speaking on stage, right? You speak on stage in a hotel conference room or a hotel, whatever, ballroom, whatever.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being at the day where you literally hit a button from your iPhone, 1,200 people would show up in that virtual conference room and listen to you for 10, 20, 40 minutes? I mean, could you imagine? You already know these numbers.
Yeah.
To get 1,200 people into a live event room is easily 50 to 100 grand, depending on how you're marketing. Easily. And now you can do it with the hit of a button.
Or even a webinar. Webinar registrations are what? minimum $20,
$25,
20 on opt-in on Facebook, so if you want 1,000 people, that's 20 grand. And now you just go on your YouTube channel, hit a button, and 1,200 people show up. It's just crazy. It's nuts. Yep. So that's the one thing that I need to get better at is my team right now has gone through all of my home study courses. and they're looking for snippets that they can cut out. And, you know, unfortunately, all of my home study courses were recorded back in 2017. So I look like I'm pregnant, you know, before I lost all the weight. So now I need new content. But, you know, I'm dedicating right now 2 days a week, where, you know, Monday and Wednesday, I get for a half a day, 4 hours. I get in the studio and just record. That's it. Just record new content. And, you know, the other thing too is I think there's this misconception that in order to create content, you have to say something that's never, ever been said in the history of human beings. It's not true. Some of my videos repeat certain things. I talk about being a cause a lot is one of our primary things that we teach is being a cause rather than living in effect. I talk about that in a lot of different videos. You don't have to have completely new content. That, in fact, theoretically, and I'm sure you've done stuff like this before, theoretically, you could take a video that you did 6 months ago, re-record that video again, same topic, just, you know, do it organically, record it again, put it out, and it would probably still get huge engagement.
Absolutely. I'm going to give you, yes, I'm going to give you two ideas and two concepts here. One, people tell me, just like you said, I don't have anything original to say. And I'm like, look, there's this thing called the news. And I don't know my personal opinion, why they were called the news and not just called gossip, because that's essentially what it is, right? Yeah. You have hundreds of news channels who are reporting on the same thing. They're just saying it differently in a different style, in a different way that connects with that audience. You can do the exact same thing too. If you have an opinion about something, what I like to do is I like to set up Google News alerts. So these different news alerts come in and I can say, hey, the Harvard Business Review recently published a study that said that people aren't buying in a typical sales funnel. That's what I've been saying, but I'm using kind of their authority as well too. Now, the other thing is to get on the other side, it's kind of trippy, but a lot of fun. You can go ahead. So like for Michael, for example, you can go ahead and type in NLP, top NLP strategy. Go find the most viewed YouTube video of the last year. I then use an AI service. It's called Merlin. It's an extension. I hit a button. It summarizes everything that's in the video. And then it says, what would you like to do? And it's attached to ChatGPT. And I say, take the summarization of this video, discover what the persuasion techniques and copy frameworks are in this video, and summarize the video. It'll do all that. Great. Now, rewrite this as a TikTok video script, but also write it in my tone, which is, you know, we list out 3 bullet points. All of a sudden, you have something that's really popular that you didn't like steal their content. You got their idea, boiled it down, rehashed it, created another 1-minute video. There's endless amounts of things that you can talk about. So the whole thing of like, I remember 20 years ago, like, Michael, I don't know what I'm going to write about. I should look in the newspaper, what's going on. Now there's so many different ways that you can get access to information to create content. It's just crazy. Absolutely just crazy.
Yep. And I would say another thing too is sort of what you're alluding to, tie into things that are going on in pop culture. So a movie came out a few weeks ago. I guess we're dating this video now that I'm saying this, but a movie came out a few weeks ago called Hypnotic. Yeah. And you know, the trailers make it look like there was some sort of psychologist that was hypnotizing people to do murders and bank robberies and stuff like that. And of course, I'm a hypnotherapist. Do I want to let that movie, because Hollywood's just done a horrible disservice to our industry. They're constantly misportraying what hypnosis is. So every time a movie or something like that comes out, I go watch it. I had no interest in the movie whatsoever, but I watched it so that I could come home, and I spent the next 40 minutes writing a blog article about it, publishing the blog article. Now, anytime somebody goes out there and is searching for, you know, Hypnotic, and now that I'm thinking about it, I should do that blog article as a TikTok video and a YouTube short, and reference it, because I haven't leveraged that on the other platforms. But, you know, tie into those things that are going on in pop culture. That'll give you so much more content. And then the third thing is, like, if you do any kind of like group coaching programs, you know, I've got a group coaching program I've been doing since 2009. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of recordings. You might be going, well, that's just an audio. What can I do with that? Well, take that audio and put it over stock video. You know, we're doing this on our YouTube channel right now, and they're just working great. And, you know, the audio is really high quality because I record it here in the studio. There's just no video to it. So they just go, you know, my team just goes and gets like motivational people running and people doing, you know, when they make it slow motion, so it looks really dramatic, you know. But it just turns it into like a motivational video. And those clips are doing really well right now.
Huge. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All good stuff. I'm excited for this. I can't wait to hear what other people do with this type of content. Very excited to hear what they do next.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. What else do you want to add here before we branch off to the second topic?
That's pretty much it. The main thing is at the end of the day, as I say this, and it's in proper English, I say this from stage all the time where I'm talking to people, my biggest advantage is my competition, because I know that most people don't do things consistently ever.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest difference. I don't have to be prettier. I don't have to be skinnier. I don't have to whiten my teeth more. I don't have to get straightened. Like, I don't have to do all these other things. If I'm posting content once, or let alone twice a day, I'm blowing away all these other people. I can't tell you how many celebrities that we have worked with who said, I can't record a video once a day. I can record a video once a month because I have to get my director, I have to get blah, 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 I have to get this and this and this. That's why so many micro influencers out there are just absolutely crushing it right now, because they're producing a lot of regular content. So use that consistency as your advantage, not perfection. I think you're going to see a huge difference. It's going to apply to your ads as well too. So I'm excited to talk about that in the ad section.
Yeah, I'll tell you what else too. You know, you talked about people being afraid that they don't have anything original to say. Do you know who else didn't have anything original to say? Tony Robbins.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Tony Robbins combined what he learned from Jim Rohn with what he learned from NLP, and all he did, and all he pretty much still does, is parrot the things that he learned in those courses.
It's his delivery.
It's
right.
Delivery. And there are people who love Tony Robbins. They don't love him. And you know what? There are people who hate Tony Robbins. And you know, generally my audience is kind of like the inverse. The people who want to go and rah and jump up and down and dance and get squirted with water guns, they go to Tony. The people who want a little bit more of a classroom style and learn how to use it practically, they come to me. And there are people who hate me, and they probably love Tony Robbins, or they love some other. There's always going to be people who hate you. Always. You cannot avoid that, right? So embrace it. I always say, if you don't have any haters, you're not playing a big enough game. You're not making big enough waves. So you should have haters. You should almost make it a goal. But then there are going to be people who love you, you know, and even someone like me, I grew up with the worst self-esteem. I used to think nobody liked me when I was growing up. And, you know, the more that I just learned to just be me authentically, there's that word again, and anybody will tell you who I am on camera, who I am on stage is exactly who I am off. Absolutely. Right. And there are people who will just resonate with your message, no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter what your weight is. You know, people tell me all the time, oh, you know, I'm too heavy. I need to lose weight before I do stuff. And I go, I don't want to, you know, like publicly say anything, but I could easily name 100 overweight, very successful speakers, or ugly people, or, you know, people, you know, who have all kinds of issues in their life or whatever, but they're out there and they're helping people. Nobody cares what you look like. It doesn't matter.
We're our biggest competition. Yeah. But you can be better. You can easily eliminate your competition by doing it consistently. It doesn't matter what you look like, as long as you get a message. Yeah. Yeah. This has been great. This has been really great.
I love it. So one of the things that I want to share with you, and this is, we're not going to do a big sales pitch on this or anything, but Curt has graciously, I told you earlier that I got in with Curt in something called the Belt Method, which is a training program that he has. And then I eventually upgraded to the Genius Society, which is a coaching program. But what got me started, sort of the gateway program, was a program that Curt has called the Belt Method Fast Track. And it's a way for you to get from the ground up, just to get started in your Facebook ads account. And again, it's mostly focused on Facebook ads, but the strategies work across all the platforms. And Curt has graciously offered a discount for our Ethical Marketing Academy students on that. So if that's something you're interested in, you can go to the link here, 2ema.co/CCF-BMFT. Really easy to say it 10 times fast, or you can scan the QR code there and that'll take you over and you can check it out. I highly recommend it. Curt's stuff has really inspired me and helped me achieve things in ways. Just on Wednesday on our coaching call, I found out there's one thing I've been doing on my Facebook ads wrong this entire time. I haven't run a Facebook ad since 2011 when the platform came out, since the very beginning. Yeah. And there was just one thing that I was not getting. And I told Curt, like, this one thing you shared with me is probably worth the price of admission to the whole program, because it's going to unlock a lot more views on our videos and stuff. So really good stuff. And one of the things Curt focuses on here, it doesn't sound sexy, but once you get it, like, it's so powerful, is the measurement stuff, right? How do you know if an ad is successful? How do you know if it's delivering right? How do you know if it's converting right? And he's got a way, he calls it the golden ad report. You can actually adjust the Facebook settings so it shows you if your ad is being successful. Very cool.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Love the program.
Heck yeah. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, next we're going to talk about the paid advertising stuff, right?
Chunk of the paid ads.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much, Curt. Appreciate it.
All right. See you on the other side.
Mm-hmm.